Hello everyone on Facebook Live and everyone on Periscope. Shani, thank you so much for joining. My name is Kayl. I am the customer service and leadership coach. I am a motivational speaker, radio talk show host, author, and mentor. That is a little bit about me. Thank you so much for joining me on this Friday evening. Thank you. I see a couple of people coming in. Hi, Aideen. Thank you so much for coming on Periscope. I am doing Periscope as well as Facebook Live. Today we're going to be talking about trust and being yourself. Hi, Desmond. Thank you so much for joining. So today we're going to be talking about relationships and trust in your relationship and being yourself in your relationship. You know, I talked to a couple of people and I see that sometimes we try to be someone else in relationships. And that's just something you can't be. You have to learn to be yourself. But in order to be yourself, you have to learn who you are, right? I always tell people all the time, I know who I am. I know who I am, so I can tell you anything about me. I'm my worst critic. I know me back and forward. I know who I am. You have to learn who you are and love who you are. Hey, India, thank you so much for joining. You have to know who you are and you have to love who you are. You can't always try to be someone else. And you know, when you get in a relationship, you always seem to, and I have a couple of people I know like this who, when they get in a relationship, they turn to try to be whatever that person is or like whatever that person like. Hey, Teresa, thank you so much for joining. You try to like whatever that person likes. You forget what you like. So for instance, hi, Alicia on Periscope. Appreciate you for joining. So in instance, I have a friend who loves football. Love football. But if she get with a person or a gentleman who loves basketball, that become her favorite thing, basketball. She forgets who she is. She forget that she loves football. So she no longer watch football because that gentleman may not like football anymore. And you cannot be like that. You have to be true to who you are. I know sometimes my husband, when he gets around his boys, he loves sports all of a sudden. I'm looking at him like, I've been with you for 31 years. I know you're not interested in sports. Even though our boys played since they was 2, that is just not something that he's ever been interested in. But you have to know who you are and you have to stay true to who you are. Now, that does not mean that you cannot compromise and like some things that other people like. It's called compromising, right? Hi, Demetra. Thank you so much for joining. It's called compromising. You have to compromise sometimes, but you cannot lose that individual who you are. Because if you lose that person and you begin to change every time you're with someone, you're changing to be like that person, how are you going to know who you are when it's time for you to just be with yourself? Even though I've been with my husband for 31 years, sometimes I just need to be with myself, right? And he knows that, he understands that, because I love spending time with him, but he also understands I love my quality time to myself. I like doing things only I like doing. I don't like a lot of TV. I like laying in bed listening to radio all the time. Hey, friend, thank you so much for joining. You have to remember the things that you like and that are unique about yourself. Even though you're with another person, you still have to take on your individuality. You have to do that in a relationship. In order to do that, looks like this is something I need to hear. Yes, you have to do that, Demetra. And I know you're in a new marriage, like it's going very well, but you have to remember that is so important, to remember who you are and love yourself for yourself. We're going to talk about trust in the second half, but right now we're going to talk about yourself, because when you become two individual people coming together, yes, a lot of compromising are going to come with that, right? But you also have to stay apart from that. And as one of the persons going to be on my first radio talk show, Humanious Love, he talks about the love language. Once you get with someone, you're going to begin to learn that love language, what they need. I don't have to tell my husband, this is a day that I need to be by myself. This is a day I need to get out the house and just ride by myself. This is a day I just need to shut up in my room and just be by myself. Because the love language that we have with one another, and yes, it took a long time for us to learn that, we understand one another enough to know that, yes, let me go downstairs because she needs to be by herself today. I can tell that, right? They're getting off on the wrong side of the bed type of thing or something like that. But you have to remember, you have to create that with your partner so that you can keep your individuality. That is so important. It's important for you not to try to be like everyone else. So I have another friend who loves to be around people that are different from her. And she's always trying to be like these people, always trying to be like these people. And she'll say, well, they don't want to be like, that is where true love comes from. Exactly, Fran. She'd say, you know, they wouldn't want to be around me with me being like I am because I'm so different from them. I'm different from a whole lot of people, but that doesn't mean I don't go and be around them. I may like some of the things that they do. They may like some of the things about me. Case in point, I love to dress when I go places. I may be overdressed, and I hear some people say, "Oh my God, why did you dress up coming here?" And I'm looking at myself and thinking I'm casual, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna do something different because someone else is doing something different. I do whatever I like to do, and I'm gonna tell you. I've been with my husband for 31 years. As I told you, we've been together since we were 16 and 18. He was 18, I was 16. We almost did not get married. And let me tell you why. It was such a silly, silly thing. Something he didn't even think about that I was thinking about. Back then, I was a tomboy. Very, very casual dresser. You know, I'm the tomboy. I like the tennis shoes. Not the fancy tennis shoes, though, but the Bobo tennis shoes with the little ruffled socks. That's what they was wearing back then, even though we was in high school and middle school. But I was a tomboy, so I like my shorts and my t-shirts and my things like that. Well, he has always been a real snazzy dresser, even when he was a teenager, very snazzy dresser. And it seemed like everywhere we went, I was, you know, so casual, and he was so dressy everywhere we went. So I'm saying, you know, I don't think I can be with you because every time you look around, you're all dressy and I'm dressing like this. He said, I don't care how you dress. I want to be with you. And this was before we got engaged. We were dating then. I was going to break up with him because he just seemed so different from me. But what brought us together was he loved me enough. Even in dating, before we got engaged, he loved me enough to say, I don't care about how you dress. I'm not going to change the way I dress. I'm not asking you to change the way you dress. But that one incident could have caused me 31 years of not being with my soulmate. We have to stop thinking about people want us to be someone else. When I go around my friends, all of my friends are completely different from me. I have one that's dressed as casual, loves to dress casual most places where she go. She loves to wear tennis shoes. I've never ever told her not to wear her tennis shoes anywhere. I've never told her not to wear her jeans. She's a jean and tennis shoe person. I've never said anything about not wearing her jeans or tennis shoes, trying to change her to be someone who she's not, because I want her to be comfortable, because I love who she is on the inside of her, right? I have another friend who loves name brands. Everything she has is name brand. I don't have anything name brand. I've never once heard her say, and we've been friends since middle school, I've never once heard her say, Kayl, I want you to start wearing name brand stuff, or I can't hang with you because you're not bougie like me. You don't wear your name brand clothes and things like that. No, everything she has is name brand. There's nothing I have is name brand, but it's the connection that we have with one another. We've been friends since middle school, so evidently there's something there, right? So people are not, and that's the same, that's a friendship, but that's still a relationship. Your man, if that is the man for you or the woman for you, they are not asking you to change. You're the person that's thinking they want you to change. They don't want you to change. They felt in love, or they liked the person that they saw. You go through the change process of trying to be someone that they want you to be, but guess what? We can't keep up pretenses, right? So something is going to happen if you try to keep those pretenses up. That's why it's so important to be true to who you are. I tell this story all the time. When I first got on Periscope, I have that country accent, and I'm sure everyone can hear it now. It is a hard thing. Exactly, Fran, that's true. Hi, Shawana. Thank you so much for joining. When I first got on Periscope, I wanted to change my accent. I didn't want to talk the way that I was talking because I don't like the way that I talk. I don't like the way that I sound. But when I began to try to change them, then my tongue got twisted. I started trying to use these big words, and I'm not a big word person at all. I'm a very simple person. And I tried to use these big words, and it just started twisting up and sounding all crazy. I said, you know what? let me get back to who I am, because I want to get my point across. And I can't be playing with my words while I'm trying to get my point across to these people, right? And it was all about customer service and leadership. So I didn't have time to be playing with these big words. And guess what? My followers became to me, my supporters is what I call everyone. They came to me, hey Didi, they came to me because I did break things down in such a simple way. I get that all the time. I like how you break things down, how simple you are. And I take it as a compliment. Some people may not. I take it as a compliment because I am a simple person. But I know I can talk to the homeless person on the street, and I can also talk to the president of the United States. It does not matter. I can speak the same way, but in more professionalism when I'm speaking to one versus the other. But be yourself is what I'm saying. Don't try to be someone else. Stay in your lane where you are. You know what you can do. You know what you can't do. You know what your likes are. You know what your dislikes are. Discuss that with your significant other. Discuss it with your spouse if you've never discussed that. If you said, you got with someone and you have pretended all this time that you like something that you don't, have that conversation to let them know. This is not something that I like. It's just like with my boys. I sit down and watch sports with them, but thank you, India. I sit down and watch sports with them. When I used to go to their games, they wouldn't even allow me to cheer for them because I was cheering for the wrong team sometimes. All I knew was my sons was on that team. They was doing something constructive and something positive, and mama was proud of them. I didn't care what they did or did wrong or right or wrong on that field, and I didn't know when they was really doing it. So I wasn't able to cheer, but when I was at home, I can cheer with them and they can laugh at me and all of this stuff, but I'm there with them in the moment. So I can share things with them that I truly don't like, and they know I don't like it, but it brings me closer to them because they see me trying. That's another relationship. It's the same thing in your relationships. You just have to make sure that you are true to yourself. Allow your person, whomever you're in love with or in like with, to be true to themselves. Don't get someone and then try to change them to be someone else. You can't do that. My husband, when we first got together as teenagers, he loved to call everyone baby. Oh, and I was so jealous. It would irritate me because I'm supposed to be your baby. Why are you calling everyone else baby? But I didn't try to change him and stop him. I had to understand why he was doing it. That was just part of his personality at the time. Normally, it was to get something free because, of course, we lived in an area where everyone had their part-time jobs. And so he was somewhere trying to get a free sandwich or, something free from wherever they are. Hey, Karen, thank you so much for joining. So those things, that it's important to just be true to yourself and who you are. The other part that I wanted to talk about today is about trust. We have to trust one another in relationships and friendships. We have to trust one another. And I see that so much today that a lot of people don't trust one another. You're always looking to find something out. You're trying to get the codes to your significant other phones, and you're going through their phones finding something out. When it gets to that point, we as females, we already know something is wrong. If I got to go through something that you have, I already know something's wrong, because why am I suspecting something, right? I have to trust you until I find out what's going on. I can't blame you when I don't have any facts. When you have facts, you don't have to go through the phones anymore. You have to trust the person that you're with. A lot of times my husband is on, he hates social media, but he's always on my Facebook page, my Instagram. He's always on my Twitter, just looking at stuff. And usually he wouldn't even like anything, but lately I've noticed that he liked a few things because I didn't like that particular thing at the time. But it's okay. But how I make sure that he understands it's okay, because what I have to realize is, yes, we have a lot of family members that we keep up with on social media. That's why we actually started. But now I have a lot of networking partners where they are male and female. I'm on the phone with male and female all the time. My mentees are male and female, so I'm talking to them all the time, and we're talking on Facebook, and I may be laughing about something on Facebook. I have mostly, throughout my life, I have two very, very good friends that I've had for years and years. Like I said, one has been my friend since middle school, and one female has been my friend for over 20 years. But most of my friends have been male friends. And my husband has accepted that. Those are the friends that I mostly have. But a lot of them are also on my Facebook page. They're on my Instagram, and they're on my Twitter. Some of my ex-boyfriends that I've had a long time ago before him, they're on my Facebook page. I never ask him, I make him feel comfortable by saying, I don't mind you being on my Facebook page, but I want to make sure you understand it's nothing that I'm doing wrong. Hi, Tawana. Thank you so much for joining me on Periscope. I want you to understand that there's nothing I'm doing wrong if that's the reason that you're on there. But if you're just on there to talk to friends, because a lot of his friends are on my page as well. So if you're just on there to talk to friends and family members or to see what's going on, you know, in the family with friends and things like that, classmates, because we have a lot of classmates that's on here. If you're on there for that reason, that's fine. But if you're on there thinking that I'm doing something wrong, then guess what? I'm not. I just want you to know that I still love you. You're the only one for me. But I say that so that he won't feel uncomfortable. Because now he understands and he trusts me even more. The other thing, a lot of times because we don't want someone to have a code, they feel that need most of the time to want it, right? Why can't I have your password to Facebook? Why can't I have the password to your phone? The more you say that you don't want to give them that password, the more they're going to want it. The more they're going to accuse you of things. So if you're open and honest with them, my husband, insecure, exactly, Tawana. My husband has the passcode to everything that I have. It doesn't matter because I know I'm not doing anything to offend him. If he want to go look on my messages, my direct messages, he can go and look on there. Yes, I get direct messages where men are saying stuff to me. I got a text yesterday from a guy that I met, and he was telling me how beautiful I am. Well, first of all, my husband has done his job to remind me that I am beautiful. Then I have a mirror to look at myself to see that I am beautiful. So I didn't need this outside man. I call it, you know, making sure your spouse don't go out hungry. That's what I call it. Make sure you feed your people, right? So I've been fed, so I already know. So it didn't surprise me when someone else told me, and I felt like, oh my God, this man said I'm beautiful, and he's the only man to have said that to me, so now I need to go back and cheat with him. That's, you know, that's normally what it's about. I, you know, said it to my husband. I said, you know, this, I knew this was going to happen. It's always happened. You know, this man have texted me and he told me how beautiful I was. And he said, what you going to say? I said, I'm going to say thank you very much, because we're going to go on with our conversation, what we're talking about, right? Because I know that I am. And I tell him all the time when stuff like this happen, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that I'm a beautiful woman. I am a big woman. I'm a fabulous woman. And I'm a beautiful woman. Thank you for letting me know that. So when other men give me attention, it doesn't make me go out and do something I shouldn't be doing. Guess what? The same thing happens with him. I make sure I tell my husband how handsome he is, how fine he is, how attractive he still is to me after 31 years. That's actually part of our funny part that we say, you know, after 31 years, it is a blessing to still be attracted to you, to still not only love you, because a lot of relationships still love one another. They can get a divorce and still love one another. But to truly be in love with one another and to lust after your own person, that's big. So I enjoy being able to say that to him. So when other women out there, because I know when my man walk out the door, when he is fully dressed, I know he's going to get someone else's attention. I know he's going to turn someone else's head. Because guess what? I wouldn't want someone that no one else wants either. So I want him to look good when he go out there. But I've already fed him before he went out there, so he's not going out hungry. We have to trust our people, but we have to do our part to gain that trust from them as well. Gaining that trust is, hi Nadia, thank you so much for joining. Excuse me, I think I'm catching my grandbaby's cold. But going out, you know, making sure that you give them the reason to trust you. If my husband asks me for a code for my phone, I will give it to him, because guess what? He's done with it after then. Most of the time, men fight so hard on giving up their codes to different things or their passwords. Guess what? We only want it for a moment. As long as we have it, we're okay. That doesn't mean we're going to go in and use it. So I don't have a problem with him if he get my laptop, or if he get my phone, or if he get my iPad and he go and look what's on Facebook, or he go and look at my messages to see the direct messages to see what I've written. Because once they start sending me that, what he's going to see is I only use this for business purposes. So thank you so much. If you want to talk about business, we can talk about business. But if it's not about business, I will have to delete you. And according to what their next text is after that, I delete them. But you can still see that on there. So he trusts me more because he can see those things. He trusts me more because every time he wants to get my phone, I'm not snatching it away. Every time he wants to get my iPad, I'm not snatching it away. Every time he wants to look and see what I'm doing on my laptop, I'm not trying to hide something. I'm not closing it up. When we do things like that, we call it, they're being nosy or whatever. They're just trying to cover something that they're doing. No, it doesn't mean that. It means that they just want to be able to trust us. And sometimes we have to brush that little coat and allow them to trust us, right? Hey, Chris, thank you so much for joining. We have to allow them to trust us. I'm a person that say I'm going to do exactly what I want to do anyhow. There's nothing going to stop me. If my mind tells me I want to do it, it's nothing that anyone's going to be able to say that's going to stop me from doing it. Or whatever I think in my head, it doesn't matter what else you say. I believe it already. So you have to make sure, I have to make sure, because I know me. I know who I am. So I know I feel like that. So I have to allow him in the door to be able to see these things and say, I know how hardcore you is, because he tells me that all the time. I know how hardcore you is, but I want to make sure, sometimes I need you to be that feminine lady. To say, you know what, baby, if you want to use it, you can go ahead on and use it. And sometimes I'll say, baby, you're on my Facebook page more than I am. And he is. A lot of people think that I'm on Facebook 24/7. And 9 times out of 10, it's my husband. It's not even me. And like I said the other day, I noticed that he was liking stuff. And I was like, did you just hit the like button? And he was like, yeah, because I liked it there. I was like, but this ain't your page. I said, but I'll make you a page if you want one. He don't want a page. He want to be able to share mine, and I don't have a problem with that. He's sharing my page, but this is my page. But we have to allow our significant other. This is not just for men. This is for men and women. We have to allow them reasons to trust us. Trust is not easy. And especially if you've ever had any problems in your relationship. Trust is really hard to gain back. It is really, really hard. So make sure you're doing the things that you need to do. First of all, make sure you know who you are. That's what we talked about in the beginning of the video. Make sure you know who you are. You respect yourself, and you know yourself, and you love yourself. You understand that you need to be an individual, because no one wants someone who wants to be them all the time. They like you, or they were attracted to you for a reason, because of who you are individually when they met you. They don't want someone that turns into them. They want you, the person they fell in love with, the person they saw in the beginning. Thank you so much for joining me on Periscope. They want to see that person. So, it's okay to compromise and change and do some things that they like to do and all of that. That's part of a relationship. But that doesn't mean you have to change and become someone else. I tell people all the time, my husband is so much like night and day. We are just, he likes the wintertime, I like the summertime. He likes the dark colors, I like bright colors. I mean, there's nothing we like. He likes for it to be cold in the house, I like for it to be hot in the house. There's nothing in common with us. And I told Harmonious this, he really, he was like, no, I know y'all have more in common than this. No, we really don't. We have love in common. We love one another. That is our common number, and we love family. But we know that we are two individual people who have nothing in common but love. So guess what we have to do? We have to compromise a lot. We have to compromise a lot. He loves going to the movies. I hate going to the movies. We went to the movie nearly every day when we were dating at the Dollar Movie when it first opened up in Mobile, Alabama. I absolutely hate the movies. But he want to go and see this movie with President Obama and Michelle. So I have to say, you know what? I want to go and see it with you too. He knows I don't. Because, I don't like movies. But that's compromise. And that's how we've gotten along for 31 years, compromising with one another. Even though we have our differences. Hey, Dry Buzz, thank you so much for joining. Even though we have our differences. Hey, Travis. Even though we have our differences, we learn how to compromise to make our relationship work for us. Now, what we do may not work for some people. You have to find out what works for you. Don't look at someone else's relationship and say, I want my relationship to be just like theirs. You have no idea if you can walk in the same shoes that I have. You have no idea what size shoes I wear and how my shoes are all torn up, because you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've walked through. So just go through whatever you're going through, whatever path you're on, and want to be like yourself. I don't want to be like anyone else. I want to be Kayl, because I love Kayl enough. Be yourself. Know who you are. Be yourself. Learn how to trust your significant other. If you have a reason to start not trusting them, and especially if you're a female, hey Karen, thank you so much for joining. Especially, congratulations on your passing your audit. But if you begin to have to stop trusting them and you're lurking and you're trying to find something has happened for you to do that. And 9 times out of 10, either you need to go ahead on and talk about it with your spouse, or it's time to let that spouse go. That's the truth to it. Because when we're female and we figure something is going on, 9 times out of 10 it is. Because we don't have that trust anymore. Something has broken that trust. Hey, Bobby, thank you so much for joining. And congratulations on your nominees. Something has broken that trust in your relationship. And when trust is broken, the relationship cannot survive. You must do something about it. You must do something about it. So that's what I want to talk to you about. Learn to love yourself. Learn to be yourself. Learn to know that you're unique and you do not have to change to be anyone else in a relationship, but you have to learn how to compromise in order to get along. And remember, you must trust one another in a relationship. You must trust one another. Again, my name is Kayl May. I am the customer service and leadership coach, motivational speaker, radio personality, mentor, and author. Thank you so much for joining me. You can always get my information off of my profile on Periscope and off of the top of the comments on Facebook Live. Again, I never take it lightly that you've taken time out of your day to join me. Thank you so much, and I will probably see you on, it probably won't be until Monday because I have a little child's birthday party to go to, so I'll be enjoying that tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.